Hello guys, welcome to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian. I want to talk a little bit about the new moon that's coming up on May 22nd. It's at 2 degrees of Gemini, and I really perceive this as a constructive, helpful, solid new moon that can lead to some serious developments in your life, serious Saturn, and breakthrough insights, Athena, in whatever area of your chart this falls in. So we need a little bit of constructive goodness, and Saturn will be bringing that to bear during this moon. And I want to tell you, I'm going to do all signs as I always do. So you'll just check the timestamps below to go to your ascendant sign, ideally, and then sun and moon, depending on if you're born at night or day. But truly, if you know your ascendant sign, it's the more accurate depiction of what will unfold in the month after this particular new beginning / new moon. So in the general, I'll delineate the general feeling of this, and then we'll go to the individual signs. So first of all, oh, by the way, like, subscribe, comment, please. I'm a new channel. And also I have a little sale for Venus retrograde. It's only a $75 cost for a pre-recorded reading by me for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how much I find in your chart, to see what this Venus retrograde and Venus star point is resetting in your life around love and money, and that will have an impact in your life over the next 4 years. So it's worth looking into. So if you're interested, please just go down below and click away and grab one of the 40 spots available. Venus takes 40 days to go retrograde. And I picked 40 days because she's retrograde now as the number of readings I'm going to do on those pre-recorded specials. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Let's go forward. So first of all, the moon at 2 degrees of Gemini is conjunct the sun at 2 degrees in Gemini. Every new moon is always when the moon and sun come together in the sky. This is happening around 1:38 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time on May 22nd. Now, this particular moon is making a trine to Saturn, or Saturn is trining this moon, whichever way you want to express that. And technically, that is a good thing because Saturn is a taskmaster of focus and discipline, organization, structure. It's sort of like, you know, the planet that gets shit done. And it also is a planet that is the Lord of time and karma as well. And so there's a karmatic element to this particular new moon in your chart and everybody's chart. And one of the ways to understand that is some good karma, some constructive karmatic element may be coming to play over the few days after this moon, in particular the next 30. Also, you want to look at the idea that Saturn happens to be conjunct Athena, the goddess of wisdom and knowledge, truth, strategic action, etc. Now, she is the daughter of Saturn. In Greek mythology, it's kind of funny because he swallowed her mother, and then as a result, Athena was born from the forehead of Saturn. And to me, that's a really clear indicator of Athena. First of all, she wasn't born in a normal way, so she's a special goddess, but she does represent the kind of, I always call her the cosmic librarian, because she's the goddess of the smarts. Like when you have an Athena in your court, in your chart, you're really quite the intelligent and smart being. But also the forehead to me is not just like the cerebral cortex and the brain and being smart. It's the third eye, the pineal gland, right? It's right here. So she's also got that intuitive wisdom, not just the book knowledge. You won't believe how many clients that I have that have Athena in their chart who are literally librarians, but or they work in research, or they love, you know, they're multi-published authors. You'll find Athena also very prevalent in the charts of professional astrologers, because we're using arcane wisdom and knowledge to give intuitive forecasting and insight. So I want you to consider that maybe that for all of us collectively, that this Saturn Athena combination is going to bring some kind of strategic, intuitive wisdom and insight to bear with constructive action and a scaffold of something we can do constructively with Saturn to deal with the coronavirus. And the reason I say that is because the lungs are where Gemini resides in medical astrologies, and this new moon is in the sign of Gemini. And although now we know that coronavirus or COVID-19 is not really so much impacting the lungs as it is the entire body, the lungs are just one of the areas, it still presents mostly as a respiratory illness. And of course, we're also breathing out the virus and maybe infecting other people. Canada today, that I'm recording this, just announced that they're now officially recommending people wear face masks. And a friend of mine, bless her soul, Audrey, actually, I think these are made by her mother-in-law, are handmade masks that you can use with like a furnace filter in the middle that is replaceable. And these are washable. And I'm like, I'm going to wear one when I go shopping, because why? I feel like a social outcast if I don't. I actually had the virus guys. And for me, it wasn't that big a deal, but it was definitely something I'd never experienced before. And in the meantime, maybe constructive. The government of Canada today, Saturn is government as well. Okay, just so you know, but a trine to the moon, which is coming up in 2 days, has made a recommendation for everyone to wear face masks in public settings. Obviously not in your car when you're jogging in the woods, but you know, common sense, right? Like if you're in a close quarters, a tight grocery store or a pharmacy or somewhere where you're all squished together and you can't socially distance, what the heck, why not? So that's just one example of a Saturnian government practical structural constructive thing that just happened in my country, Canada. So watch for more of those like practical, constructive, logical, effective, good things developing for the collective around things to do with this virus in the next 30 days. Logical as well. I mean, I think there's a lot of the logic that goes with that Athena archetype, you know, in this chart. She's kind of like, I don't know what to describe her as to me, but she has a quality because she's a warrior goddess too, with a white owl on her shoulder. I kind of feel like she could be more like a Spock-like intelligence in Star Trek, but married with, you know, well, that is Spock. Oh my God, I got it. Spock is the Vulcan mind meld. My mind to your mind, my mind to your mind, my mind to your mind in the old Star Trek series. So he's both super logical, super smart, super practical, like negative captain, but he also has this Vulcan mind meld. That's kind of the Athena archetype. So anyway, use your Vulcan mind meld this month, guys. So do practical things to improve your life, and also we collectively will do that, but also recognize that you can use your intuitive and instinctual minds as well. All right, we're going to go for the all signs. I'm going to try to make this a shorter recording. I'm going to start interviewing other astrologers on topics like the astrology of liberation, or the meaning of the houses from the Vedic perspective, or another one I want to do is talking about what's going to happen with the new conjunction of Kings with another astrologer I know. So get ready for me to put more content that's educational and more like that. As much as I like delineating the moons and all of that, it's not my passion. I feel like a weather woman of the, you know, today's weather, and I don't see myself as that. I'm a research astrologer by nature, and I like to share the things I find and share what other astrologers are talking about too. So if that interests you, let me know. And if you want to know about something that, you know, I'm just giving away free content here that you're really curious about, email me. My email address is available on my website, lunaticastrology.com. There's a contact form, and all my information for that is below. If there's some topic that really interests you, I would love to address it in a session here and go into some depth with it. So let me know about that. Maybe I'll start doing live sessions too. Alrighty. Let's start off the all signs delineation. So Aries, this new moon is in Gemini, is happening in your natal third house. And this is the house of communication, thinking and writing. It's a house of short-term trips. Good luck with that, right? Your siblings. And in a lot of ways, it's also your neighborhood, friends and buddies, friendships that are really intimate that way. People you've known for a long time. However, like feel like family friends, that kind of thing. However, for the most part, given that this is, you know, the third house, you might want to just think about writing, speaking, teaching, and educating themes, not higher education, that this moon might incite in you, as well as that Saturn coming into a trine from your 11th house means doing something with others, you know, creating something with other people maybe, or orienting your, or even finding a Saturnian and Athenian character from somewhere, like in your social circles. 11th house are your friends and allies and people you know collegiately, colleagues and stuff that are in similar tribes as you. Anyway, looking for some kind of assistance from an older or more authoritative person in that area. I'm an Aries sun, and I'm going to be interviewed by a woman who's got this thing called the Life Purpose, I think it's Academy. And that would be her in her authority and expertise, you know, communicating with me, third house, and that's happening next week. So that's an example of something that's unfolding for me if I delineate by my Aries sun sign and my Aries moon sign as well. All right. Yeah, that's good. I'm keeping it short and sweet. So think about those themes of short-term trips and travel, some constructive and instructive and useful thing coming from friends and allies around those themes. And if you want to collaborate with others, this is a good month to do it, because that trine from Saturn in the 11th to your third house, great for collaboration if you have an independent or entrepreneurial business as well. All right, Taurus. This is happening in your natal second house, and it is being trined by Saturn from your 10th. So we've got the energy of career and money active for you Taurians. What ways can you have structural and concrete and constructive, and did I say that word already? Positive, functional career developments through a Saturn energy and Athena together, working together, him and his daughter who sprouted from his forehead, working in your life to bring you something monetary through the second house of self-worth, self-possession, possessions, and earned income. So you're looking at an increase in the next 30 days in ways that you can make money. And Saturn could be an authority figure in the 10th house. So somebody in your place of work or career, or a boss or an employer, or somebody, if you're self-employed, who's got more authority than you do, or more expertise, or is more in their mastery, who's going to really step up and assist you in making some more money this year in your chosen profession, in your career path that you're on. All right, so look forward to that, you Tauruses. Sun, moon, and ascendant, especially ascendant. Gemini, get ready. This is going to be a lot of you going on. It's a first house new moon this month. Is going to really revolve around your avatar. Like my avatar today has bracelets and a necklace, and she's blow dried her hair for a change. And so think about it in terms of what ways your sense of self, how you look, what your personality is, your comportment, and how others see you, maybe getting some assist from that trine from Saturn and Athena in your 9th house of higher education and college campuses and education and foreign lands and the word international, as well as God's soul wisdom. Guides and mentors are up there. Is there a mentor or a guide for you Geminis this year who are going to come into your world, Athena and Saturn being the archetypal holders of that energy, to assist you about seeing who you really are and what you really want in your life? How do you define yourself, and how will others see you by result of that self-definition? So you're kind of doing a identity reconstruction project, Gemini, over the next month, courtesy of Saturn and Athena in your 9th house, trining that new moon in your 1st. Cancer, ascendant, sun and moon. This is going to be a 12th house activation. So it's very subtle. The new moon is in the house of your nocturnal dreaming and in your unconscious and your meditative reverie, the house of your past lives. And it's being activated by a trine from the 8th house. Now in Vedic astrology, the 12th house and the 8th house are the houses of moksha or liberation, as well as a 4th. And so there's an essence here, or an energy of spiritual attainment that's possible for you during this time, because Saturn, Lord of time and karma, coming from one of the moksha houses, the enlightenment houses, the 8th house is, and Athena's with him, are trining or positively impacting you in that 12th house. And your 12th house is what's often hidden from yourself as well. The things you can't see that you may not be aware of. I always see people with planets in their 12th house natally. It takes them a long time in life to claim what that power in that 12th house planet is. It's kind of, undercover or in the closet until they recover it in some fundamental way. So I want to consider the spiritualness of this next 30 days, and don't look for it to be a gangbuster outer directional thing, but an inward thing. The 8th house is money that belongs to other people, and Saturn is applying to your 12th house, and that's a karmic energy, that 12th house in essence, because it's past lives. You could get some kind of financial constructive directionality coming from the 8th house, a bank loan, a tax rebate, a credit card relief, debt relief. The 12th house does talk about debt in the ancient tradition, so we could be looking at a debt relief, a financial debt relief for some of you Cancers. So look for that as well. And it's very positive, as well as the karmic and the spiritual implications of that. Leo, you're going to experience this energy of the new moon over the next 30 days or so, coming into action in your 11th house of friends and allies and benefactors, people you're associated with who benefit you in some fundamental way. It's one of the relational houses in the Vedic tradition, and it's really about how are you relating then to other people this month in a way that's going to be constructive and that's going to be enabled by that intuitive third eye energy, especially with Athena contact, if you listen to the earlier part of what I talked about, because Athena brings that kind of Vulcan mind meld to bear And, you know, the 11th house is the kinds of connections socially that are not your most intimate, not your marriage partner, or the third house, you know, friends that feel like family, but more your broader social networks. I belong to a church. These are my church mates. I belong to a nonprofit. These are my allies. I belong to an online membership site. These are my people, that kind of belongingness. So look then for some sense, Leos, of expanding a constructive expansion of your belongingness. Now, the energy of the trine that supports you and brings you some assistance in some fundamental way has to be factored into this. And that's coming from your natal 7th house. And, you know, the 7th house is the energy of your marriage partner and your clients if you work one-on-one with people, as I do, or as many counselors online do. And so you may be benefiting from some constructive advice or constructive assistance from somebody like your marriage partner or your long-term partner, or from somebody in your client base, you know, your audience, your client base, coming as an Athena-Saturn combination, intuitive, practical, organized, and disciplined energies to help you in some really super functional way build out your own broader social networks. This would be ideal if you had an online business and you were trying to expand it into other audiences in some way. But if that's not your life and your world, then it could be just something coming to you in your social networks that is really constructive and good. And it could lead to some breakthroughs in the 7th house. If you're single, this could be an ingress or a beginning of a new relationship that has a long distance signature all over it. All right. With Saturn going through your 7th house, where he's just tiptoed in and won't be forever, but that is an indicator of some kind of shifting of the gears in long-term love and relationship. It can end something, but also bring something new in. Next, Virgo, you are going to have a 10th house activation, and the 10th house is your career. The moon is activating the whole career zone for you. And this is your contribution to the collective and your reputation and status in the world. This is the top of the chart, high noon at the OK Corral. And so I would say, Virgos, you really want to focus on how this moon, with constructive guidance from Saturn and Athena coming out of the 6th house. And the 6th house is your work house too. It's your routines and structures for work. It's also the routines and structures you do for your health and your well-being. But the 10th house is career, and that is a very strong connection, that trining of the 6th to the 10th. Something in your workplace, your employment place, your employer. If you're a boss, this is about your employees. If you're an employed person, this is about your boss or employer. Good news coming from that boss, Saturn, Athena. Could also be an authority figure in the workplace, giving you a positive lift, a trine to something in the career area for this year. I mean, for this month, for this year would be great too, wouldn't it? If you're not in a career per se, like say you're a student or something, you Virgo sun and ascendants and moons, then this could also be just about what you're doing in the world that you feel good about, that you get recognized for, you know. It may not be getting a paycheck, but it is something you're excited to be contributing to, the 10th house, and getting assistance by virtue of what structures and routines you put in there. A structure and routine like, you know, me putting my equipment in my kitchen and working, getting up every day and doing XYZ to do something for your business or for your work or whatever. Structures and routines and discipline around business and around health, okay, are focused on for this next 30 days. Libra, you are in the 9th house with this moon, the house of foreign lands, higher education, God, wisdom, spiritual truth, wisdom and truth. Can rule law as well in the 9th house. You're having some sort of activation this month in that area, but it's positive because Saturn and Athena together are trining this from the 5th house of your creative expression and speculation, independent business enterprises, romance, and your own children in pregnancy. Now, for you Libras, this could be very creative as well. The 5th house is creative inspiration, but coming from that Saturn energy, there's a strong feeling that it would be whatever creative ideas and projects you want to give birth to. Birthing is a 5th house thing. It can be very much a step-by-step thing. Like when you think about those books like the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, like that's a total 5th house Saturn energy. You know, it's a creative project, a writing idea that has, you know, and And don't forget, Gemini loves to write, and that's where this moon is, that has a very structured platform. So if you have children already, you could be dealing with some good news coming from your children. Saturn, Athena in the 5th house. It could have to do with your children's education as well, because it's even though it's your 9th house, you know, something about your children saying, Mom, I got accepted at the best school I really wanted to go to, and here are the steps we need to take next to finish this application up. Or just making that up. You'll have to take this sort of mashup of things that I tell you guys and do your best with it, because, you know, each life is unique, but you can try to make suppositions about what this means for you. Scorpio, this is an 8th house activation. That is one of the houses of spiritual liberation. It's a moksha house. It's very enlightenment-y. It's because we have death and rebirth in that house. It's like the house of death in ancient astrology, but you know, we die before we die, right? It's the ego. So we got the spiritual essence for you Scorpios. You're going to go deep, because that trine is coming from the natal 4th house, which belongs to also the moksha or liberation energy. And Saturn is the lord of time of karma. And he's often very much a trigger point for people's sagedom, for them going into their wise woman, wise man archetype. Now, you technically could have a sage-like figure, Saturn, Athena, maybe a female, or maybe just a very intuitive energy, a knowledgeable energy, showing up 4th house in your home, like in your house or in the town you live in or nearby, that's going to assist you to achieve more 8th house things, which is a more refined sense of self, a paring away of all that is not truly you, a rebirth of identity, it's spiritual identity, not personality, as well as the 8th house is about money. It's other people's money, it's debts and derivative incomes and royalties. You could have a boost of something you're doing at home leading to more derivative income for you, like royalties, or a chunk of change from selling something, you know, like an investment of some sort. So those are all variations on the theme. Sagittarius, you guys are going to have this energy in your natal 7th house of long-term love and partnerships, like think husband or wife kind of thing, as well as if you work with people one-on-one, like clients, and these are your clients that you work with. It's a house of other. This energy will operate from that 3rd house trine of Saturn, Athena, to do something good in your marriage zone or in your long-term partnership zone or your client zone. Now, the 3rd house where Saturn and Athena are coming from is your neighborhood, your friends that feel like family, short-term trips and travel, thinking, speaking, writing, teaching, but also education. Like when you take a workshop or a seminar, that's this part of the chart. So you could possibly be taking some sort of lead instruction from an expert, Saturn expert authority mastery person, that you guys latch onto to improve your 7th house stuff. If you're single, that also involves you, because even if you're not partnered, it could be one of those courses about, you know, how to find your ideal mate, or, you know, one of those courses that helps single people find people. You could also be seeing something going on. A 7th house can kind of sometimes revolve around business partnerships. If you don't have a business partner, you might be finding one thanks to that communication, 3rd house, Saturn, Athena, a very authoritative person reaching out to you. Like when you think about emails and text messages and phone messages, that's very 3rd house today. And so you might get a message from an authority figure who wants to partner in business with you, if that's something you're interested in doing. You Sagittarius, ascendant, sun and moons. Alrighty. Okay, I'm looking at my time. I've got a client in 5 minutes. I think I'm going to be late. Capricorn, this is going to happen in your natal 6th house, and your 6th house is your house of your health protocols and routines and your work protocols and routines, including your workplace if you're employed. And if you're an employer, it's your employees' space. So in some ways, I'm looking at this as being, because the Saturnian trine is coming from the 2nd house of money and earned income, as well as self-worth and possessions. For you Capricorns, an increase in the way in which you are able to make money. I kind of think that you're going to pull up some sort of, like, I don't know what's pull up, but you know, like when you pull a plane out of a tailspin. We're all struggling in COVID, right, around finances. I mean, most people are. My business is booming, but you know, people look for help when they're stressed, but for most people that's not true. And so Capricorn, sun, moon, and ascendants, it's like a tailspin pulling a plane at a tailspin. There's some really serious monetary earnings, paycheck help coming to you through a Saturnian and Athenian person or situation. You could find yourself getting gainful new employment in the next 30 days. And you may find that you have allies in this endeavor, that people are trying to help you create a stronger financial influx of money or resources that you need. All right, it's positive for your money this time. Aquarius ascendant, sun and moon. I'm an Aquarius ascendant. We're having a 5th house activation with this new moon. Now, it's funny because Venus is retrograde. Grab my cell below, $75. And she's in my 5th house now. And she's doing her star point there. I'm looking for a new romantic partner to show up in my life. If anybody knows somebody, let me know. I'm very picky. And so what I want to say about the new moon for Aquarius ascendant particularly, but sun and moon as well, is that the new moon is setting something up in the romance zone of your chart. And the romance, sorry about that, guys, the romance zone of your chart is the part of the chart where you're going to experience an inbound love of some sort. But you know, it's the house of your children, Aquarius too. So some good developments with 1 or 2 or 3 of your kids if you have them. And if you're trying to get pregnant, the new moon in the house of pregnancy, that could actually indicate a conception this month. The trine is coming from Saturn in the 1st house, and the 1st house Saturn is really a strong placement. Saturn on the angle or the kentron is coming to assist with Athena, something good happening in that 5th house zone of your chart. And it's also creative projects. So any sun, moon, and ascendant Aquarians, if you have a great idea and you're really pondering getting it off the ground, and it's a new moon, so it's a new project, not something you've been like thinking about for a long time, something that you'll be brand new doing, this is a really good month to put the foundations down for that. Saturn equals foundations. Athena means strategic and, you know, applied wisdom and knowledge. Okay, so look for that. Last but always not least is my Piscean dear hearts, and you guys are having a 4th house new moon. That's the house of your home. This is where you live. This is the ancestral line. This is your home base vibration, and their assistance from Saturn and Athena is coming out of the 12th house. Your dreams at night, your meditations and your reveries, your past lives. Saturn, Lord of time and karma, assisting you, Pisces, from that 12th house could only be a good thing. So I would suggest that something good is coming to you around your home base. It could be home improvement. You know, Saturn likes to do construction projects and build things. And so maybe there's a home improvement project for you guys that's going to really take root, new project this month. And if you're not improving your home, you may also benefit from Saturn in the 12th, giving you ideas about how to benefit maybe in a way around your, well, home is sanctuary, because, you know, the 12th and the 4th house are moksha or enlightenment houses. So rather than looking at it as a scaffold and a bones and a building and a brick and a mortar, look at it, is this my sanctuary? How can you make your home or rooms in your home, you Pisces, sun, moon, and ascendants, more of a spiritual retreat, more of a sanctuary, more of an ashram at home vibration? Saturn is going to be moving into your 12th house for a long time. He's just, you know, tiptoed in there now. So let me just look at my delineation chart here so I make sure I said that right. Where are you, Saturn? Are you still in Aquarius? Yes, 1 degree Aquarius, 50 minutes. So Saturn is only experiencing a short trip in your 12th house right now. He's going to leave that place and not go back until much later in the year. So in December, I believe. So I would say to you, this is also a sense of what's coming in December and onward, as Saturn is going to be there for 2.5 years in your house of home. So you Pisceans are really going to be looking at what your true home is. And Saturn is going to try to bring you in touch with that by trining the house of home from your house of spiritual liberation. I think you're going to start looking, you Pisces, sun, moon, and ascendants as home, as a sanctuary, as a spiritual place, instead of just a roof over your head. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Remember, I've got a Venus sale, only $75 for my 30 to 45 minute pre-recorded reading for you, explaining how the Venus star point this year on June 3rd will reset your whole life for 4 more years. I'll explain how it's part of a greater 8-year cycle in your life, and I'll give you those dates. And I will also talk about how your natal Venus is important to understanding this Venus retrograde period that started on May 13th and ends on June 25th in your own natal chart and in your life. All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Mwah.